From architecture to painting and sculpture, literature to live music and theater. Radio 111 presents Bonnie G and Brian Mendoza with The Desert Scene, your connection to culture and entertainment in the desert cities. Here's Bonnie and Brian.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. I'm Bonnie G here with my producer, Brian Mendoza, who keeps things running very smoothly. And we're really happy to welcome to the show today Lynda Kay, also known as Lynda Kay Parker. She's going to be doing a show at CV Rep on Thursday, July 21st, 7 p.m. Hi, Lynda. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Bonnie?
Good. Was just looking at your bio. My goodness, you've done so many different things in your life. It's fabulous. I'm not sure where to start. So, first of all, you are from Texas originally, but I see
That's right.
I see that you let's see, where am I finding? You had a legal education and then went to work as an undercover FBI agent. Tell me about
I did not go to work. Let me just clarify that just a little bit. So yes, I did think that I was going to be a lawyer, and I graduated from undergrad with a degree in political science and theater, and then I went on to law school and graduated with a degree in law.
Yeah.
I got my Juris Doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was in law school, I was debating about the different career choices that I was interested in taking on.
Mm-hmm.
And I either wanted to work at the district attorney's office, or I wanted to work at the FBI as an undercover agent. And one of the reasons that I liked the idea of going undercover is because I have this ability to morph my look depending on my hair, my costume, my makeup. I can completely transform my look. But I did meet with the FBI and, to find out some more information and everything. What I realized after that is I'm just not that serious.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So had you thought about music before that? Had music always been a part of your life, even before that?
It had always been a part of my life. In my family, we always had music around the house. My father played guitar. My brother played guitar. And I was the one who would always sing.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother said that I sang before I talked and I danced before I walked.
Mm.
And so I really feel like I just had it in my system, growing up. And my first entertainment experience was I did a version, an interpretive dance to Terry Jack's Seasons in the Sun.
Really?
I was
okay.
3 years old.
Oh my gosh!
So I did it in my neighbor's garage.
Mm-hmm.
I invited the neighborhood, but the only people that came were my mother and the lady who lived in the house.
Okay.
And yes, in the line, "Goodbye, my friends. It's hard to die." Yeah, I died
of
as
course.
a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So drama was always in me. And then, but music, I was always in church choir and choirs in school and things like that. But it wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles, thinking I was going to pursue a career in acting, when an opportunity for music came my way. And should I tell you that?
Yes, please. Yes.
So what happened was I was in Los Angeles. I moved out here in 1997. A couple of acting opportunities came my way, and so it was time to uproot from Texas. I was living in Austin at the time, and come out here. And so I did an audition for a musical theater play that was going to be happening in, I believe it was Pasadena.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came into this space, and it was a big, large rehearsal hall with a piano player and a long table with producers, casting directors, director, you name it. and they were all holding court for this audition. So I came in, and I sang my contralto version of Somewhere from the musical West Side Story.
Okay.
And I get finished with the piece, and nobody says a word. They're all silent. And I thought, oh, my goodness, they hated it.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Okay, so when are they going to dismiss me so I can walk away with my tail between my legs?
Yeah, I've had that feeling. I know, yeah.
Absolutely. And so anyway, after this silence, then all of a sudden the lady who was in the center of this table, who was clearly guiding the ship, said, I'm so sorry. You are completely wrong for this role, but your voice is incredible. Would you mind singing us another song? And I was like, what?
Wow.
Because all my years of auditioning, I've never been asked to waste more of their time if I was wrong for the role. And so I came and I said, okay, sure, I'll do another song. And another song that I just had with me was Bessie Smith's Give Me a Pig Foot.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
So I did a rousing rendition of that one and got cheers, and then they thanked me, and I left. And that was a signal to me, a sign that I said, I've never been embraced so much by my talents that they wanted me to express it to them more, even though I wasn't right for this part.
Yeah.
And so I took that moment and I took it to heart, and I went to my acting teacher and I told her I was leaving my class and that I was taking some time now to focus on music. And she told me she yelled at me and told me it was the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And I was going to regret it. And I've never regretted it, and I've never looked back. It was the best decision I ever made, and it's how I found my path for passion and life.
Yeah. What a great story. And then I'm reading in your bio, and so that evolved into a 3-year residency at the Atlas Supper Club with a 6-piece band requiring costume changes. And so your country, have you always focused a little bit more on country because you're from Texas?
It's funny. I didn't focus on country at all when I first started my career because at this point I was living in Los Angeles, and the sense that I got was they're not really interested as much in, the country set. They're interested in something a little different. And so I was still finding my sound and finding my path. And what appealed to me early on were body blues songs.
Okay.
I liked the idea of doing body blues because they tapped into my sense of humor, and they also I could sing them a little bit like a musical where they would have some little acting
involved. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And so that was my first choice. Then once I started digging into these body blues, they were from the 30s. And the 30s, of course, was the Depression era. But there were really 2 lines of music that were happening they were happening simultaneously, but not together. And one was body blues, and the other one was country music. And country music was very dirty, too, back then. They had a lot of graphic lyrics as well. So what I started doing was incorporating both types of music. So basically, it was my way to have like a little political nod to the past of incorporating forms of music from white culture and African American culture and putting them in one show. And so it was it was fine for a moment, but I could tell that the country stuff was not exactly where most people's sensibilities were at this particular club. So I started writing music. I started writing music with another artist, and he and I started creating material that was more like my own version of musical theater, with each little vignette, like 2 songs per character. So I was trying to lean upon my my acting roots more, and created more of a cabaret show where I would change costumes like 6 to 8 times a show.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it was. And it was all different kinds of music, you name it. And some of it was kind of mixtures of types of music. And like I had a country song that had a little like rap in it.
Wow.
I really was just experimenting well beyond my comfort zone to try to find a path for myself. And I have a really moving story. At this moment in my life, I moved out to Los Angeles with this friend of mine named Sarah, and she and I were kind of like Lucy and Ethel, trying to have our own little comedy bit as a thing together. And when she moved out here, she discovered she had a debilitating illness that was actually going to eventually hasten the end of her life. And it was really sad because I did not realize how sick she was, because she kind of hid it from me. And what she said is, she was like, I'm going through some health stuff, figuring it out, but why don't you come over and let me help you shape your show? And I said, oh, okay. So I would go over there, and I realized she had breathing issues. And they progressively got bad very quickly. And so one of the last things she said to me before she left this earth was, just stop doing all this other kind of music and just do what feels right to you. People want to know you, not all these characters. So just be yourself and find yourself in these songs, and I bet you'll find more success like that. And it was honestly the best advice I ever got, and I really took it to heart. And I think of her before I do every show and show my gratitude, because she really helps me find my path, and I always think of her. So it's a really moving moment in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the show on the 21st. Groove with Lynda, she sings your favorite standards with the 60s and 70s vibe. So tell us about how you put this show together.
So this particular show, during the pandemic, I had a vision board where I was creating a number of different set lists for different types of music from the 60s and 70s that I wanted to learn and perform. And so from this vision list, I learned a bunch of tunes that I had never committed to memory before. And I'm actually debuting many of them at this concert at the CV Rep on July 21st. I've been so what I wanted to do was take the biggest songs that I know and love, big as far as breadth and their style,
right,
and find the ones that aren't done as much anymore, but that people all still really love and appreciate. And so that's the material that I put together for this show, and it involves everything from Frank Sinatra to Burt Bacharach to Hoagie Carmichael.
Wow.
So it really runs the gamut. Judy Garland, Karen Carpenter, all my favorites and all the greats.
Excellent. And it's Phil Parlapiano? Is that his name? Parlapiano?
Yes.
On the piano.
Phil Parlapiano. He was, and he's, for a long time, he's played with Rod Stewart and several other major artists, but I was really fortunate that I got him to be able to play with me this show. So I'm really excited about that.
So it's just you and piano, no other instruments?
No, that's what the series is all about.
Okay, fabulous.
It's a grand piano.
Yes. And I'm looking at a couple quotes real quick. Billy Bob Thornton, who I know you did a duet with, says she's like Dusty Springfield, Patsy, Cline, and Roy Obrison all rolled up into one. That's high praise. That's a nice thing for someone to say.
Incredible.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention, before your show is at 7 p.m. Thursday, July 21st. Before your show, from 5 to 7, they're having a vintage car show in front of the theater, in front of the CV Rep Theater. So I wanted to mention that too. And you can get tickets at cvrep.org. Well, Lynda, so I mean, we could do an hour with you because I'm just so much stuff on your bio. It's just amazing. So nice to meet you and have a great show. Have you been to Palm Springs before? Have you performed here before? Real quick before we go.
I have performed there before, but this time is it's the first time I've ever performed in this particular format with just me and a piano player.
Yeah. Well, I think you're fascinating, and the variety of artists that you're doing, I think, is wonderful. Break a leg. Thank you so very much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it.
I thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too. All right, and we'll talk to you guys next time on The Desert Scene.